Hello and welcome to your Valley News Now update. Duke Schindler here with a special interview that we have coming up here on Valley News Now. We want to welcome in Moorhead Public Works Director Paul Fiechtner. Paul, just welcome to the show, and how are you doing today?
Doing great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So we got Paul on here today to talk about City Council kind of reinstating the aerial mosquito spraying that's been kind of in the works here for about this entire month of August. Paul is here to tell us what he can about this initiative. But like I said, Paul, this kind of goes all the way back to August here with multiple meetings and whatnot. What has this back and forth been like with the City Council and kind of determining whether to spray or not?
Yeah, so kind of recap it a little bit here. Beginning early August, we hit some conditions here as far as mosquitoes and viral activity where the city had planned to do a aerial spraying. Once we announced that aerial spray and had it scheduled, there was quite a bit of feedback from the community, from the residents. At the city council meeting, the council voted to pause that aerial spraying. They wanted some time to review the policy and see exactly what was going on before we proceeded. So the following week, there was a workshop meeting with the council. We discussed the policy, kind of all the ins and outs and the details about the policy and what drives some of those decisions. And then here this last Monday, the city council revisited the subject and they voted to resume aerial spraying. So that put us in a position here as far as staff. Once we do have the right conditions to aerial spray, we're able to do so.
For sure. And then, ultimately with that city council meeting, you guys unanimously decided to keep spraying. So why did you kind of make that decision, and why do you consider it kind of best for the city as of right now?
Yeah, so when you take a look at our aerial spraying policy and some of the framework around that, one of the big decision makers on that is viral activity. So West Nile virus is one of the main decision points that we take a look at. With that, we're also taking a look at the mosquito population, the adult population, and the largest driver is to knock down that adult population and reduce the risk of human transmission with the West Nile virus. So that's the main driver behind it and our decisions that we do it, and that's what makes it kind of the right decision when the right conditions are there.
Right. And we just got a press release ourselves yesterday about 20 cases of West Nile so far reported in Minnesota and 2 deaths here in 2025. Just kind of a question for myself here as well, Paul. I grew up in a forest next to 2 ponds, so it's a very obviously hotbed for mosquito activity there. But it also seems like the town folks around town just kind of dealt with it. So is there anything about the Fargo-Moorhead area that makes the mosquito population more fierce or more dense, or is this kind of something that Moorhead has always done?
Well, I think it's something that every community has to address to some degree. Here in the Red River Valley, we do have a couple of conditions that drive mosquito populations. Obviously, the Red River, we're very flat, so anytime we have standing water or anything like that, that creates breeding grounds. So there's several different conditions that can drive the mosquito populations up. And, some of it is just driven also by quality of life and what residents expect as far as being able to go outside, enjoy the outdoors. One thing I hear quite a bit from the public, and we know living up north, is summers are short, so people want to be outside and enjoy it. From that stance, you're looking at the mosquito population of more of a nuisance, opposed to viral activity or trying to control virus transmission. But yeah, those are some of the discussion points that come up when we talk about it.
For sure. And then, with this approval from the city, I know you mentioned something about ground spraying happening tonight or today. Just tell me about the ground spraying, and then if there's kind of a date for the next aerial spraying, when can the citizens expect that?
Yeah, so here this last weekend, we've all noticed some cooler weather and cooler evenings, so that's really put a slowed down or a damper on mosquito activity. But we anticipate here with the warmer daytime temps here today and later this week that will pick up activity again. So we went ahead and scheduled to do some ground spraying with our trucks, and that's where we apply the chemical or the fog from a truck driving down the road. We utilize the wind to kind of cast it to where it needs to be to the affected areas. So that's one method that we use to keep the mosquito populations at bay best we can when we take a look at the nuisance type mosquitoes and the population. So we anticipate here with the warmer weather that we're going to start seeing worse conditions.
For sure. And then, obviously with a lot of the pushback here from the handful of people that didn't want this spraying, kind of going back to the pollinators at around that 2020 spraying Moorhead had. Do you guys have a policy that's kind of scaled back on like the concentrate of the mosquito spraying after that incident, or is there any difference kind of between your initiative in 2020 compared to right now?
Yeah, so after the event in 2020 with the aerial spraying and a lot of butterflies being affected by it, we did take a look at our policy, and we made a couple of key changes. A couple of things related to aerial spraying. We make sure we spray after sundown, and then we also reduced the application rate as far as the amount of chemical that comes out per area. And those two items were looked at and studied and determined to help reduce the impact to pollinators and butterflies and bees. So City of Moorhead has adopted those, and that's worked into our plan now.
Awesome. And then kind of with the less concentrate you guys are having in this new spray, how effective do we know it's going to be against mosquitoes? Obviously, the city council said it's not going to get them all. There's millions and millions out there, but compared to the last spraying to this one, how effective is it going to be?
Yeah, I think that's one to recognize too. Is it's not a one application and all mosquitoes are gone. That's just not a possibility here. So, we're definitely even with the criteria in place to reduce impact to pollinators, we do still feel that we can be effective in knocking down that population of mosquitoes and hopefully get it down to a point where it's comfortable for people to be outside and less of a nuisance.
Incredible. Thank you very much, Paul, once again for hopping on here. I got one last question for you. We got everything covered here on the base of mosquito spraying, but do we know right now, or does City Council know, if this is going to be the future of mosquito control in Moorhead, or are you guys kind of always working on different ideas that you can implement?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Like any service we provide to the city, we're always taking a look at that. So, I wouldn't say we have anything set in stone for the future forever and ever. We're always taking a look at, are we being efficient? Are we being effective with what we're doing? And are we giving a service that people expect from us? So I can see when we take a look at mosquito control here for the city of Moorhead that we'll continue to take a look at it, evaluate it, and make adjustments as needed. So it'll be a living thing.
Awesome. Well, thanks again for joining us here, Paul Fiechtner, City Works Director, or Public Works Director for the City of Moorhead, I should say. Paul, thanks again, once again, for hopping on in here and clearing things up. I guess no pun intended about the mosquitoes.
Absolutely. Thanks for the time. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you. And that'll do it here for our Valley News Now update. Thanks again for joining us here. For Duke Schindler, we'll catch you later.